Bandwidth for VT Talk is provided by vaporworld.co.uk.
Well, hello, good evening, welcome. 'Tis Wednesday night. It's time for VT Talk here on vaportrails.tv. But our guest, who was with us a scant few seconds ago, has disappeared again. And in fact, as you can see now, it's actually a DAS-free zone. We have no DASs at all. And I was expecting we might have two. We should have one, but he's gone. Now he's going to come back. You see he's very still behind me over there. Daz, if you all do the little Daz dance, please. Round and round your room, shouting, Daz, Daz, we want Daz. And let's see what happens, see if we can get him on. Don't you just love technology? Do you love technology, Sav?
Love it.
Brilliant, isn't it?
Isn't it just?
It's all gone to hell in a handcart. It's
Yeah.
probably something to do with the weather we've been having, which apparently has been somewhat wet.
That's what I heard.
Yes, Daz is having problems here.
I think we've got audio back, but no video.
Are you there, Daz?
I'm here.
Oh,
I can
lovely.
see you
Still
now,
got
Dave.
no video, mate.
It's up. It's running.
Not here, it's
It
not.
should go-
Have you got video, Sal?
No, I've got no video either.
It's been one of those. Look, I tell you what, we'll blast on audio only because that's a very good photo of you that's up, Daz. I don't know whether you can see it, can you?
Yeah, I can see that.
Cool. Well, as and when, just I don't know, fiddle with it and we'll see if we can get it going. I mean, everything was there before the show started, but never mind. Never mind. We'll take the first one up, and misinformation does my head in. I have to say that. It's disinformation I really, really hate. Misinformation does me head in, especially when people should know better. He said, switching to this, which is a page from ECF, and it says, warning, rebuildable atomizer wicks and coils. Please note very carefully that rebuildable atomizer coils and wicks have known risks. Rebuildables are for experts, not average or beginner vapors with no multimeter or knowledge of how to use a meter or when a meter must be used or how electronic devices work. Please remember that sentence. People with no knowledge of how to use a meter or how electronic devices work. These materials cannot safely be used by the inexperienced or those without basic knowledge of electronics. Remember that one as well. This is because, 1. A rebuildable coil wick must be tested carefully with a meter before it's used. That bit is probably true. In fact, it is true. You should test it before you use it. 2. If it's not tested, it may damage the device it is used on. This is also true. 3. Faulty wicks, coils, will blow electronic devices. And at that point, I'm coming back on the screen. They won't. It's not right. All of the electronic devices that I am aware of have got protection against short circuits. And in fact, it would be a lot safer to test something out on an electronic device than anything else, but let us carry on. New coil wick units must be tested and then used first on a strong, basic electrical APV, such as a silver bullet, that will not be destroyed by a short circuit. Back to me. Yeah. It's not the mod you need to worry about, it's the battery that you've got in it. And if the battery that you've got in it is not capable of venting safely, if we are to believe what ECF told us about the necessity for slots down the length of mods to allow these things to vent when they got a short circuit because they would go in scant seconds, why are they now advertising? Why are they now advising us to use that exact same kind of thing to test out a coil that could be shorted out? I'm a little bit at a loss here. Let's see what else they have to say. No new wick coil assembly should be used on an electronic device until known to be safe. I think I might have covered that. 6. These items destroy electronic devices if faulty. This is a known issue. I don't know that. Do you know that, Sav?
I didn't know that in the slightest.
Did you know that, Daz?
Not at all.
I mean, you are a purveyor of the lava tube, are you not?
Indeed, I am.
I have shorted lava tubes out and they just stop working. And then when you take the short off and put an ordinary car to one that isn't shorted out, they start working again. That's what they're supposed to do, isn't it?
That's because they've got inbuilt protection.
Yeah. The Darwin's got inbuilt protection on it, Sav.
It has, because I did exactly the same thing when I played around with my very first rebuildable.
Yeah,
It still works.
absolutely. Now, funnily enough, the controversy du jour, the Z-Max, does exactly that. And strangely enough, if you've got a kick in it, it does exactly that. A Pro Vari does exactly that. Every mod that Gary Dibley makes does exactly that. All the ones that Mark makes do exactly that. But let's go back. It says, these items have inherent risks and may go faulty at any time, even if they were originally in good working order. Blah, blah. And this is basically, it's in the reviews section, which is probably just as well, which means it's hidden away from, you know, public view, as it were. But there you go. There it is. In reviews of suppliers, negative, which I don't like to start with. But there you go. Wonderful. Misinformation 101. And these are the same people that whinge about the misinformation and disinformation that comes out of the likes of Ellen Hahn's mouth. I find it's derisible. Don't you think? Have we any comments from chat on this, Sav? Sorry, I'm into rant mode straight away.
It's quite alright. We have a couple of comments. Marky Mar came straight in saying, I guess I'm a dummy then, which Kat responded, me too, Marky. He also said, most folks wouldn't put a handmade coil or wick on a non-protected device first. Dougie, I'm going to have to make up a lot of what Dougie's typed because his spelling was a bit off. But he says one of the coils he did, he put on a Pro Vari and the mod stopped. He fixed the coil and the mod worked.
Yep.
And Super 7 has said, I've never seen a short circuit on any of my devices, or for that matter, short circuit too, and I like robots.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, let's say if you were silly enough to use an unprotected battery in a pure mechanical mod, perhaps you would have issues. But otherwise, I'd hope everything would be fine. Basically, that's the gist of what's coming from chat. Is they're all agreeing exactly with what you've said.
No controversy.
Not as yet.
Oh.
Just something about Rolly living on planet Zorg.
Fine. Fine. It's, I mean, you know, I do sometimes have to have a little giggle to myself when I hear about all of these so-called disasters. And I'm ever so glad we've got Daz in soul, if not in body. You still there, Daz?
I'm still there. I can see all your videos, so I'm not sure why my video's not showing up. But
It's weird. Stop your camera and start it again. Let's see what that does. We'll see if we get the cheesecake of doom.
Whilst you're doing that, I'll just read a comment. It's coming from Vaporman, who said, "I've had Bosch Carto short out on me. So does that mean they're not safe then?"
Well, this is the point. This is the point. What they're saying is, if you've got something that's going to short out, it's safer to short it out on something that's not got electronic protection in it, and that's just wrong. The protection circuit on an 18650, for instance, on a protected 18650 will kick in and just stop anything from working. I think it sounds as though somebody is distrustful of electronic mods, and I've got no idea why. Daz, can you shed any light on this? What I was going to ask you, as a vendor, I mean, I know, you know, we know that the lava tube is not the world's most expensive device, and yet I have to say mine have served me perfectly well, without any great issues either, it has to be said. But do you get any information about them going off and continuing to fire when there's a short or anything like that? Have you had any reports like that?
never once. And I've sold quite a number of them, and I've never had any issues in that way.
Well, that kind of says it all, doesn't it, really? It's. Is there anything more coming in from chat? I had expected this one running for quite a while, to be honest.
Well, Super Seven has said, I think that most people would just rubbish that report. Jeff Bennion said, any coil is a short, just a gentle one. And Sam Monroe's just typed in, the only totally safe thing on earth is being dead. Everything else lives within a range of safety.
Well, you know, he's brought up a brilliant point there. I don't know, some of you may well know that on, was it Monday night? I did an American radio show. It's called Auntie Nanny with Raven Grimm. And they asked me would I go along and sit and basically be grumpy for an hour. And if you know me at all, you know being grumpy is not a particularly difficult task for me. I do it very well, I'm told, by my wife regularly. And yeah, it would appear that the world is being told by those who would rule us that safety actually exists, that there is such a thing as 100% safe. And I'm here to tell you, and I don't think anybody's going to disagree with this, nothing is 100% safe. You might think that because you've been drinking water out of your tap for the last 40 years, that the next glass is going to be safe. But it could be full of anything. It could have ricin in it. You could get lead poison. Nothing is 100% safe. Everything carries with it a risk. And the ability to assess that risk and take the correct course of action in the knowledge of what that risk is what makes things safe as we know it. I think that's relatively safe to say. I'm sure there'll be some detractors, probably the people that want to see e-cigs banned, and we may well move on to those people for the next bit. I'm just frustrated that we've just got Daz sat sitting there still. It's a shame, but never mind. We'll blast on. If you're all right with that, Daz, are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. I've turned my camera off and turned it back on. Unless you want me to drop out the call and try and join back in, it might get it going again. I don't know. It was working before the show went live.
It was fine before. Give it a go. Give it a go. You know, because I know people will want to see that shirt.
Right, I'm gonna drop out and try and rejoin.
Okie dokie. There you go. You can see what's happening in real time on the monitor over there, because that's connected up to the computer that's doing the bits and bobs and what have you. Look, right. We're looking for the cheesecake of doom. We have the cheesecake. We have Daz! Yes! We've got a Daz! Get in! You there? Get in, sunshine! Sorry, did I get a bit excited there? I do apologise.
That shirt deserves people to see it, though.
Oh, it's got to be seen. That is a shirt that has got to be seen by as many people as is humanly possible. I wish I'd known you were going to wear it. I'd have put my yellow one on that matches it. What a fine figure of a man. So, how was Vegas then?
Vegas was absolutely fantastic. I had the most amazing time of my life, and I'm sad to be back, if I'm being honest, because the weather was 110, and it was just beautiful.
We were talking before the show about an experience you had with one of them mall vendors, and since we're talking about misinformation and disinformation, I think it would be brilliant if you tell people that story. It might teach them that we're not alone over here with certain brands.
Well, I'm going back in a few weeks, and when I go back, I'm definitely going to get some of this on video. But the claims that they make over there are a little bit more extreme than the claims we make over here, in that the e-lights type of electronic cigarette, you all know the type I mean, apparently they hold 3 mils of juice and are the equivalent of up to 60 cigarettes. And all of this they charge for a single battery, which is a 190 milliamp battery, which will last you all day, a USB charger, a plug, and 5 carts, and they'll charge you $100 for that. But more shockingly was there's nondescript juice that they sell for $29 for 10 mils.
Right.
So I think America's got a few more issues with those type of sellers than we have over here in the UK, but it's not good, the information they give out. But also that the vapor that we exhale is just pure water. There's nothing else in it.
Right. You see, for donkey's ages, I had thought that the forums perhaps had been a little bit harsh on mall sellers on the basis that, you know, you've got to have it out there for people to be able to see them, because not everybody goes on the interwebs. But, you know, if you've got somebody saying that a carto the same size as that, and I'll take it off the e-cig just so, there is no way is that possibly 3 mils. And I'll tell you how I know, and that's because that's a 3 mil hypo. I'll go close up, there you go, 3 mil hypo, and the carto beside it. There's not a hope in hell of getting 3 mils into that carto. In fact, you'd be lucky to get a mil in it, I would say. And these would have been standard 0.7 mil cartos, were they, Daz?
Yes, they were. They were.
My good grief.
I had quite a discussion with the guy, and in the end, I ended up pulling out one of my business cards and said, "Look, I actually do know what I'm talking about, and what you're talking is a load of." And he didn't take too kindly to that. So, but like I say, I'm back there.
And then the sound goes. No. Daz, your sound's gone, mate. All together. Can you hear himself?
Not a word.
He's gone. I think this is going to be the Daz in and out show a bit tonight. I'll tell you what we'll do while we try and get him back in. Let's just run into what we've got coming up for the rest of the week, because there's going to be some cracking stuff going on, and you do need to be tuning in. We'll run this and see if we can get Daz back.
And good evening, country. Took a little while to get things lined up and ready to go. But I'm here now, so welcome to Dad's Talk Box.
So there we go, I'm back in the room and not long to go now. So yeah, I was talking to my son, and he's watched me make things before.
At Vapor Trails TV Towers. Tonight being Wednesday night, it is time for the one and only chat show programme called PT Talk. It is the Haze Hour. Again, Keith was just saying if it wasn't for the titles, he wouldn't come and do the show. He loves them so much, doesn't he? So that's what's coming up over the next week, and every week actually, with more to come, but I'll tell you about that later. As you can see, we have the Cheesecake of Doom over Daz. He's on his way back in. Sav has video, I haven't. It's got to be the weather.
I'm special.
I've heard your mum say that. She's always said to me, be very kind to Sav, she's special.
That's nice of her.
I thought so.
Yeah.
It's Daz, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you clear.
Oh, right. Good. Well, that's a good start. And the picture will come through when it comes through, and hopefully this time it'll be there. But if you're going to go across to the States and do something over there, here's a bit of information for you. The new Smoke-Free Alternatives Trade Association, SFATA, is exhibiting in Las Vegas. You've been there. October the 8th, promoting e-cig self-regulation. And this is a recently chartered Smoke-Free Alternatives Trade Association attends its first trade show, where it looks to introduce its programme and attract new members, which they've said now 3 times. It's the only association, it says here, in the smoke-free alternatives industry that represents a wide cross-section of all segments, including distributors, manufacturers, retailers and end users, in order to address a wide variety of consumer matters, including tobacco regulation and its possible extension to vaporising devices. SFATA, which is damned hard to say after a cider, argues that e-cigs are vaporising devices that do not possess the same chemical and physical characteristics as tobacco products, and therefore should not be deemed as tobacco products and regulated as such. Hear, hear for that. Rules and regulations applied to tobacco products would be inappropriate for vaporising devices, as the two are distinctly different on many levels, including inhalation and filtering processes, chemical compound development and toxicity, which is where the likes of the people that Daz has been talking to are going to run into trouble, because patently they're telling porky pies, and one would hope that SFATA would be able to do something about that. Have we got comments coming in from chat there, Sav? I can see your eyes flitting from monitor to monitor.
None that I can actually read out, to be honest with you. Most of them are still sort of stuck on the name, which, as you say, is not very easy to pronounce.
Oh, right. Actually, I was just going to go back to... I'm sorry, I'm reading it as well, just so I can see if it goes flying up. There is one that Marty Ma put in earlier on, I dare you.
No. You want me to read it?
I will if you don't want to.
I'll let you do it. I'm a
Marty
lady.
Ma, when Daz was talking about the juice over there at $29 for 10 mils, said, at that price, it better wipe me arse and make us a sandwich.
I'll buy 2 bottles then.
I would buy it at that
The
price.
white's
Yeah.
cheaper.
Really?
Well, 30 mils, $30 for 10 mils. It's 20 quid for 10 mils. No juice that good. There's no juice that good. I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't know.
Don't care what it is. There's no juice that good. And definitely not that juice because... Oh, he's back! He's back. We've got you back.
Hey.
Definitely not that juice because I've had that juice. Because Daz described it in detail to me earlier. And I've had that juice. And quite honestly, I wouldn't use it to poison my worst enemy. It's that bad.
Well, I think what I'll do is to do a proper demonstration is when I go across in a couple of weeks, I will buy a starter kit and juice, and I'll bring it back and I'll send it to Dave, and Dave can have a good play with it and tell me if that's value for money, because that's going to cost $130.
Can I not have 3 kicks instead, please?
Be the best kit you've ever bought.
Right. Yes. Are there any comments on that little lot? I've seen 1 or 2 going by.
Moonlit has said, I'd expect it to come in a solid gold bottle.
Uh-huh.
MG Jones has said, at that price, I'd want a happy ending with every bottle. Marky Mars said he pays $9 for 30 mils. And Taffy's just typed in, does that mean that Daz will be getting some USA juice to sell to us?
Not at $29 a bottle, I wouldn't have thought. No. So what do you make of this safta then? No. Sfata. What? Sfata?
Sfata. It sounds foreign.
It sounds a bit like what we were talking about the other night. What you do in the morning.
Let's not go there.
We can't go there. It's a bit of a shame that we can't go there, but we can't go there.
No.
Yeah. Let's just pick up a bit more about what this is doing. Association goals are to streamline processes, impact free and fair trade through self-regulation, and alleviate misinformation by providing cohesive industry support for consumer affairs. I'm going to read that bit again. And alleviate misinformation by providing cohesive industry support for consumer affairs. Daz, I tell you what, I'll take you up on that. I will take you up on that 130 quid kit, but I'll go halfies with you on it.
Yeah, I'll bring one back.
We'll have
with a couple of their business cards as well.
Yes,
because I need to get it on video though, because you wouldn't believe the misinformation that they're giving, and I think it'll be quite educational for people to sit and watch that video, because it surprised me. And they truly believe this as well. They truly believe in those facts they give you.
Well, that's why when you're talking to the staff, I'll call them. It's why I refer to it as misinformation rather than disinformation. They're being disinformed by the folks that are employing them, and all they're passing on is what they know. And misinformation comes as a result of ignorance. But if they can be educated correctly to understand what goes on with an e-cig, then they might stand a chance of standing up to their employees and going, actually, that's wrong. And that really is what we need, for people to understand that, you can't get 60 fags out of 0.7 mils of juice. It's just not possible.
Well, it's quite handy that that's in Vegas, because these guys are also in Vegas, and they're about 5 miles away from the Strip. So there's a retail mall, and they're only just round the corner from it. So I wonder if they'll tip up there.
Well, that could be interesting, and I will look forward to seeing any video that you manage to bring back. Take a couple of big lads with you, just in case they turn awkward on you. Tell you what, we'll take a short break, and after the break, when we come back, we're going to be looking at the Buffalo News. Buffalo news. It's good news, kind of. Back in 2 ticks.
Vaporworld.co.uk sponsors conversation on VT Talk.
The GG, because you want one.
iVapor and iVapor Elixir, based in Yorkshire, for your e-cig needs. That's iVapor.co.uk and iVapor-elixir.co.uk. iVapor and iVapor-elixir.co.uk, proud sponsors of VaporTrails.tv.
And now back to conversation on VT Talk, sponsored by vaporworld.co.uk.
And we're back in the room. We are back in the room. And we thank our sponsors for their support. And we thank you, Daz, for your support.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes, Sav, over to you.
Yes, I do have to say, regarding your road trip, you've had some offers of support from our 2 big lads in chat, Dougie and Gary Dibley, who've offered to accompany you as your muscle on your road trip.
That's very kind of them. I'm sure if the Americans needed any toothpicks, they'll be delighted to use them too. Sorry, Gary, Dougie.
Seriously, honestly, it would cost you nothing to take them. You can just put them in the hold luggage.
Does it fit in the hand luggage? What do you mean?
Don't be nasty.
Sorry.
Dougie did reckon that he'd measured himself out to get in the overhead locker on a Ryanair flight. You know that, don't you?
Well, I could wear Dougie around my neck as a scarf, couldn't I?
Stop it. His heart's in the right place.
I'm joking. He knows.
He's a lovely lad. He's a lovely lad. I've got a lot of time for him. So, yes.
Offer retracted.
Eh?
Offer's been retracted.
So he said, "Oh, you're on your own now."
Oh, dear.
Oh, dear. What's this? What has Super 7 just typed? I can't read it.
What about Pink Spot?
Yes.
Pink Spot
Oh.
are in Vegas.
Yes.
Sounds like somewhere to go for B&M sex, not the teen news, of course.
Right. I was just not aware that Super 7 was of that ilk, I have to say. But never mind. Did say Buffalo News, didn't I?
You did, yes.
This is from today. This is how up to date we are. We're so up to date. Unbelievable. Life and Arts is what it says here. And e-cigarettes gaining popularity as a way to quit smoking. We were talking about this earlier, weren't we, Daz?
Yeah.
E-cigarettes are gaining popularity for smoking cessation, but medical experts are cautious. It's called vaping. Puffing on an electronic cigarette. Actor Johnny Depp vaped in The Tourist, and actress Katherine Heigl used an electronic cigarette a while back on the David Letterman show. Electronic cigarettes made of plastic and metal have no tobacco. A battery heater solution that contains propylene glycol, approved by the FDA as a food additive, to create a vapour that uses inhale. The solution, contained in a disposable cartridge, is available in dozens of flavours and with various levels of nicotine. It's a good read, is this. It's actually balanced. Like a seesaw, it's balanced. It kind of changes tack in the middle. But if we go to the last bit, down here, it says, We go overboard on flavours, said the burly McNamara, who rides for the Patriot Guard Riders. Don't know what they are. We have vanilla, tobacco, coffee. We have a pizza flavour that tastes like Totino's pizza rolls. Our grape is like generic Tops brand soda. We have red wine, white wine, bourbon, whiskey, beer, even a marijuana flavour. That's going to get you some friends. O'Connor of Roswell may have more questions than McNamara has flavours. Do e-cigarettes get people to quit? Do they discourage them from starting? Or do they attract new people into the pool? O'Connor asked. Do they attract kids? Do they bring former smokers back into nicotine use and then bring them back to cigarettes? The greater question is whether introducing these products reduces the amount of smoking overall. And there's a set of questions well worth debating. Daz, your opinion. Do you think that e-cigarettes get people to quit? Or do you think it gives them an alternative way to carry on an innocuous habit?
It gives them a choice in life, a healthier choice to make that switch. And I'll give you a prime example. My mother rang me today. My mother, and she's visiting a friend in hospital, and there's a young guy in hospital. He's got a muscle wasting disease. He loves to smoke, and he's using currently e-lights, but he's after something different. She put me in touch with him today, and I'm sending him up a kit. But that's his choice. You know, he doesn't want to smoke real cigarettes. He enjoys smoking cigarettes, but he wants a healthier alternative. He's going for that. Nothing at all wrong with it.
I would agree 100%. What about this? Do e-cigs discourage people from starting smoking? Is that likely to happen, do you think?
What, starting to smoke?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if they're non-smokers, then they're going to make a choice in life whether they want to take up cigarettes or not, and if they do, they will.
This is a funny one, and I don't know where on earth he's hung that one from, but the only example I've got to hang my hat on is Sue, Sept UK, who we know was a non-smoker and who uses nicotine-free because she wanted to try it. I don't know if she's in chat, is she?
I think she is, yes.
Sue, if you're there, if you hadn't taken up e-cigs, would you have taken up cigarettes? And we'll see how quickly she comes back with that, because I can't see how an e-cig is going to discourage somebody from taking up fags unless they know that e-cigs are there and all right, and when the tide of opinion changes, because there's so many people demonise nicotine when nicotine's not the demon.
Sue has said no, she wouldn't have taken up smoking.
So they do discourage people from taking up cigarettes then. I think that's probably safe to say. Thanks for that, Sue. Have we got any more from chat?
Yes. Adam Hill has said he sees it as an alternative. Jeff Bennion said, I know a couple of ex-smokers who've been off the cigarettes for a couple of years that have took up zero nic vaping. Olga has said, I'm for the healthier alternative. It's what attracted me to e-cigs. Doubt it would encourage people to take up vaping or smoking. Moonlit has said, I'd expect non-smokers who take up vaping to stay with vaping. Smoking is a poor alternative. And Seabiscuit has said, how many kids have you seen vaping? Myself, I've seen the grand total of 0.
Well, and all valid comments, he said, blowing vapour all over the place. Yeah, do they attract new people into the pool? I think we're basically saying probably not. There's the odd exception, but probably not. So, do they attract kids? What do you reckon? How many? You have? Do you still have the market stalls, Daz?
I have two lovely ladies running the market for me now, because I just haven't got the time to do those at the moment. But we wouldn't sell to kids anyway. When I was doing the markets, I used to get some young-looking people come up to me, and I wouldn't sell to anybody who I didn't think was over the age. And that's just a personal thing. I know it's not a guaranteed stance that you've got to be 18 to buy these products, but I certainly wouldn't sell to kids anyway. And to be fair, kids aren't going to be interested in the fact that cigarettes are going to damage their health. Their attitude is, I'm young, I'll worry about that when I'm older, They're not going to be interested in that kind of thing.
Did you get many coming up to the stand though?
I had one guy, one kid in particular, and he was a magician, and he wanted to use an e-cig in his act where he could use a pen and then suddenly blow this vapor out of this pen, and even though I had zero nicotine that I could provide him with, I still didn't feel right in giving it to him. His dad came up in the end and said, "Look, he's more than happy for him to allow him to do this." So his dad bought it for him in the end, but I just didn't feel right in selling it to him. I wouldn't, and I don't.
Right. Okay.
But I can't see kids thinking that this is cool because they don't know the risks, they don't know the dangers of cigarettes. They see it with the parents, but until it happens to them, until they go through that, they're not really interested, are they? I mean, I know when I was a kid, I wouldn't have been interested.
No, it's a queer one. I mean, when I was running the studio over in Sunderland, we had some young bands coming in, and there were a few of them were quite taken, not with the Lucky Likeys. I mean, the Lucky Likeys kind of, it looked like a fag, and if they weren't interested in a fag, they weren't really interested in a Lucky Likey. But get something like a GG out, or, I mean, as you know, I've never been a fan of shinies in any way, shape or form. But by the time you get a really shiny one dressed up with God knows what in the way of drip tips and everything else, they can, I suppose, look cool and be attractive in that respect. But there again, I kind of take the view that if my daughter was a lot younger than she is, sorry, I should refer to her as the mother of my as yet unborn grandchild, were she back at kind of 14, 15, 16 when she took up smoking in the first place, had e-cigs been around, I would have had no qualms at all at age 14 and given her an e-cig and saying, look, chuck the fags, use that, you'll be fine. I would have had no problem with it in any way, shape or form. But then I'm probably a bad parent. But it's without any shadow of a doubt in my mind, it is very much the lesser of two evils. And to be honest, my feeling is if kids are going to take it up, they're going to take it up. And there's nothing you can do to stop them. And it might be as well to advise them properly and also to take the view, as I do, that nicotine and caffeine are two sides of the same coin. And nobody gets up in arms about kids drinking coffee, do they? Sav, have we got anything from chat?
We've got loads from chat on this, so I'll just read through what I've got. Super7 said, I get fed up with people telling me that now I have to stop using e-cigs. I have to tell them that I'm happy with using nicotine. Moonlit has said, if vaping is more common at some time in the future, then perhaps choosing vaping first and not move to the lesser choice of smoking. Gary Dibley said, one of my staff in my day job wanted a try on mine, but he has never wanted to smoke. He just said it smelled nice. Moonlit's also said, perhaps it's not widespread enough to be attractive. Vaporman said, kids don't think e-cigs are cool. Moonlit said, if kids see e-cigs as a quit aid, then why would they choose that? It's going to be less attractive in terms of that naughty thing you have to be 18 to do. You wouldn't have kids buying Nicorette. And I'm sorry I didn't get the name of who said this one, but I love smoking and love nicotine, but now I'm 50, I want my Nic fix in a safer way, so I vape. Just want an embassy flavour though.
All of which seems fair. All of which seems fair. So I think we're basically saying that they don't attract kids. What about bringing former smokers back into nicotine use? And again, is that really a problem? Daz?
Well, former smokers back into nicotine use?
Yeah. Does that happen and is it a problem?
Well, my personal opinion is I will, whilst I've got the ability to vape and enjoy vaping the way I do, I will never ever be tempted to touch a tobacco cigarette again, ever, full stop. And I think a lot of people are of the same feeling. But the smell now puts a lot of people off. When you've not smoked for a certain amount of time, the smell of it is it's a dreadful smell. And I can't see people switching from vaping back to cigarettes. It's not something that I would personally do.
Right now,
I mean, I've got an actual story about this with my brother, who was a smoker, took up vaping, decided it wasn't for him, he couldn't get away with it with work and various things, went back to smoking, then quit cold turkey, asked to have a go on my e-cig, which I said fine, and then the next day went out and bought a pack of cigarettes. And used, I mean, in my opinion, he was using it as an excuse to go back to smoking, but he said that, oh, well, I've had nicotine now, so now I'm going to go and buy cigarettes.
see, I, for the life of me, I'm with Daz. I mean, I have not smoked tobacco in well over 3 years now, and a bit like Daz, I find the smell off-putting. I won't say it's disgusting or horrible because I don't think it is. It's just off-putting. Let's just put it like this: on the odd occasion when I've gone into venues where I might have worked prior, it's a much more preferable smell to the smell of stale urine coming out of the toilets and unbathed lady parts. That's the politest I can put it. The smell of pea and prawns, let's put it like that. Tobacco smoke smells much nicer than that, but it's not something that I particularly want in my life. And I can't see me ever wanting to go back to cigarettes by choice. The only time it's going to happen, and I've got no qualms in laying me breast open about this, if the vape police come round and take everything that's in this place out, and they'll need a transit van, but if they take everything and there's just no way I can get it, I would be straight up the corner shop and buy another packet of fags. And that's because I'm a lot happier using nicotine. But I'd be exactly the same with coffee. I'm here to tell you. I'd be exactly the same with coffee. And I'm not convinced it's a bad thing. And I don't understand why people demonise nicotine. Daz, you might have a better understanding of this than I have.
Well, people demonising nicotine. Well, it's the lesser of the two evils, isn't it? I mean, a lot of us, when we switched to e-cigs, we didn't want to stop smoking. We enjoyed smoking. We wanted to find a healthier alternative to that smoking. Now, if I'm vaping, what I'm vaping I know contains nicotine, but what I also know is it doesn't contain any of the carcinogens or toxins that tobacco smoking did, then for me, it's the healthier option. Because it's medically proven that the nicotine is as dangerous as drinking coffee. Now, if you took coffee out of the world, the Americans wouldn't be able to operate for a start because they live on coffee. We in the UK have turned to that culture where I used to be a big tea drinker, now I'm now a big coffee drinker. In the mornings, I can't operate until I've had a cup of coffee. But they're acceptable risks as far as I'm concerned. They're not doing me major damage. If I continue to smoke and put all the toxins in my body, for a start, I'd be wheezing like I used to wheeze. I wouldn't be able to get up hills like I get up now. So, to me, this is a definite winner. There's no question.
Oh, I would agree. I mean, there is no question. You know, e-cigs win out in all sorts of different ways, not least as a hobby in many people's eyes. It's perfectly true to say. But I just don't get this whole notion that nicotine is, in and of itself, a bad thing. But I think we need to come to that after the second lot of adverts.
Can I quickly just do these last two comments? And I've got a question which I'll bring in after the adverts.
Oh, you don't? That's brilliant. Sorry.
Marky Mars said, watching someone light up makes him want to smoke more than the actual smell of cigarettes. And Moonlight has said he was in a club the other night and all he could smell was body odour. And regarding the nicotine, I imagine people demonise nicotine because it's so closely linked to cigarettes. As far as many people are concerned, they're one and the same, and that's going to take a while to change.
Yes, I think you're right, and that's obviously where it's come from, because, and I've said this so many times, people must think it's a stuck record, but if we'd always gotten our nicotine in a nice mug with a frothy top on, and little cinnamon sprinkles, and a donut beside it, nobody would think twice about it. That's my take on it. And I just wish we could get, the likes of the television doctors and what have you saying that kind of thing, and then everybody would understand. But we'll take that question when we come back from the adverts. So worries. We'll be back in Toodaloo.
Vaporworld.co.uk sponsors conversation on VT Talk. And now back to conversation on VT Talk, sponsored by Vaporworld.co.uk.
Those are the people. Those are the people. They're the ones that are consistently railing against it. So what was this question then, Sav?
It's a question that came in from Marco Van Basten, our very own Marco, who said, do we think that children seeing their parents vape would then take it up?
I think, given the way that youngsters do tend to vape mum or dad, depending on who they're closest to, I think it's almost a given that it will happen at some point. Now, I don't have a problem with that personally, because I don't consider that these things are in any way as risky as many other things that kids do. But then, you know, it's a bit like asking the question, will kids build a great big rope swing on a tree over a deep river that flows fairly fast? I think the answer is going to be yes. Daz, what's your take?
I totally agree. I totally agree. I'd rather put it this way: if my kids come to me and I found out they were smoking, I'd put them on e-cigs in a heartbeat. I'd have them on them straight away. If I found out they were smoking, I'd put them on it. I'd request that they use an e-cig.
Oh, I wouldn't request. I'd
And
insist.
I'd have no objections to them using them if that was the case. But thankfully, at least I hope my two girls don't smoke.
Well, indeed, and I'm with you 100% on that one. As I say, I mean, the likelihood is that in the future we're going to be seeing kids turn into e-cigs rather than cigs. But I think that's going to be more in line with the time when there are more e-cig users than there are smokers.
Chat has just asked, how would you feel if your children were still under 18? Would you still point them towards e-cigs?
I was just about to type into that. The difference being, with that comment, even under 18, they're my children, and I'm not going to be selling the product to them. But yeah, I would put them on it. I mean, my girls are 16, nearly 18 as it is now, but I would definitely prefer them towards the e-cigs if they were smoking. That's because they're my children. I certainly wouldn't be selling it to them.
I'm with Daz on that one. I have no problem whatsoever in saying that if my daughter was at that age, then if she wanted to take up e-cigs, I wouldn't have a problem with it. It's exactly the same when she wanted to try her first cup of coffee. You know, Dad, can I have a cup of coffee? Well, yeah, of course you can. Why not? You make it weak. You know, I didn't want to be up all night. I can't even remember how old she was, but I can't remember a time when she didn't drink coffee, other than now, when she is, as I say, the mother of my as yet unborn grandchild. Apparently she's turned on to tea. No idea why. She's never liked it in the past. She's always been a coffeeholic, as you might say. And we've all drunk a lot of coffee. But you see, I don't have a problem with nicotine. I never have had a problem with nicotine. But I've always understood that nicotine is completely separate from tobacco, that you can have it both ways. I mean, there's a mate of mine going back, oh Lord, must be 15 years ago. He tried to come off the fags, he tried to quit using nicotine gum. This is when it first came out. and he's still chewing on it. So he hasn't quit, he's still using it. Weird. Very strange. Very strange. Any more to add to that, Daz?
No, like I say, I mean, it's the lesser of the two evils, isn't it? I mean, it's all right. It contains nicotine, but it doesn't contain any the carcinogens or toxins. So, to me, it's the way forwards.
Absolutely, absolutely, and without a doubt. Let's move it forward for the last few minutes. But before we do, a lot of people don't know how they can watch when we're not live. Here's how.
If you can't watch our shows live, try some of these. Go to YouTube at youtube.com/user/vaportrailstv and you can subscribe there. All of our shows are uploaded as soon as possible after they've gone out live. Enjoy watching it on YouTube. Lots of people do. Alternatively, go to Google and type in podcast vaportrails.tv and iTunes. Click on the link and that will take you to a page that shows you the Vapor Trails TV podcast. View it in iTunes, and when you get to iTunes, don't forget to click on subscribe free, and each of the shows will be downloaded to your hard drive as soon as they come out. Or you can use video on demand. Go to www.vaportrails.tv, click on vPlayer, pick the show you want to watch, in this case it's the Haze Hour, and then you can pick the episode that you want to watch from every one that we've ever done. They're all there. Under normal circumstances, you'll watch it at 360p, which means everybody can see it. It'll go full screen. You can do whatever you want with it. So there you go, 3 ways that you can watch vaportrails.tv. Subscribe and enjoy. Thanks.
We're not going to hang about. We're going to go straight into the last bit. And if you were listening to the show that I was on Monday night, Auntie Nanny with Raven Grimm on VP Live, you will understand why this has quite gotten my goat. Undoctored. Now, if you know anything about Murray Laugerson at all, you will know that he is an anti-tobacco campaigner of some great note and has been active for about 20 years in that. But he's written this. In New Zealand, the Ministry of Health has moved to bar the popular nicotine electronic cigarette on the grounds that such sales are in breach of the Medicines Act. End Smoking New Zealand believes this is against the public interest and wants the ministry to urgently review its policy on nicotine electronic cigarettes. Simply because nicotine is listed as a medicine under the Medicines Act, this paradoxically results in cigarettes containing nicotine being legal, whereas e-cigs containing nicotine are not. As no electronic cigarette has yet been approved as a medicine anywhere in the world, End Smoking New Zealand wants to see selected flameless nicotine e-cigarette brands approved for sale under the Smoke-Free Environment Act as an alternative to deadly tobacco cigarettes. It carries on and carries on and carries on, but the bottom line on it is smokers are only allowed to buy deadly tobacco cigarettes in New Zealand. Ministry of Health moves to ban nicotine electronic cigarettes. Daz, what do you make of that?
I could say what I think of that, but I don't think I'll get away with saying it on air. But that's I'd love to challenge that. I would love to go across there with a suitcase full of paraphernalia and see the people who make these decisions and say, look, have a word with them, because that's just ridiculous. They're basically saying that you can buy cigarettes which contain all these toxins and carcinogens and proof that it's going to damage your health in ways that are irreversible. But there isn't a healthier alternative out there, but we're not going to let you have that because we just don't agree with it.
Yeah, I'm tempted.
The public.
I am tempted to put the cat up. I'm going to put the cat up.
The public need to do something to. I mean, at the end of the day, the public's the people that vote these people into government, and it's the government that makes the changes. So the people need to vote with their feet.
Well, absolutely, and I do think as well that the people that we vote into power ought to realise that we've put them there to represent us, not to control us. There is a nice piece that Murray's put in here, which says, End Smoking New Zealand says prohibition of non-medical nicotine is a step too far, which government officials should not be imposing without genuine public consultation, scientific, public and political debate. Smokers' rights of access to life-saving substitutes to smoking should be no less than their current rights of access to buy cigarettes. That, I think, we need to be quoting verbatim everywhere where there's a debate about it. And that's come from a guy who is terrifically anti-tobacco. And we know that to be true. Sav, have we got anything from chat on this?
Maddie Paulus says that guy is a male hen. I guess that was the only way you could get that point across without the swear filter being activated. We've got a lot of comments about when people still started smoking, but most people have agreed with what Maddie said regarding that article, that it is ridiculous.
The thing is, the people of New Zealand, the general people of New Zealand, have got no freedom of choice whatsoever. Their government's telling them that this is the only choice you have. So if you want your nicotine fixed, this is the way you're going to get it, and it's the only way you're going to get it. Now, that's like going back to Russia in the early 70s, where they had no freedom of choice whatsoever. Obviously all that's changed now, but it seems New Zealand's going back in time by saying, this is what you're going to do. If you want it, this is how you're going to get it, and there's no freedom of choice. So surely the people must realise and need to.
Yes, I would agree. I mean, I'm not sure whether people in chat have picked it up right, but Murray Laugerson is a good guy. And he's telling the New Zealand government that the New Zealand government is a great pile, a festering pile of
I think
kidneys.
that's what chat were trying to get at. And I mean, there's a comment that came in from Dougie, which relates very well to this, who said, day-to-day is a risk. Let us enjoy it how we want to and stop trying to tell us what is best for us. Oh, no, wait. Stop trying to push us in the direction that fills your pockets with cash, government. Thanks.
Absolutely right. And just on cue, because we're really very near the end of the show now, Daz has disappeared again, which is a shame. I heard his volume tail off and I knew he was going off the edge of the cliff. I mean, you know, bottom line on it is, people, we need to get our voices heard, I think. We need to say enough. We need to talk to our MPs, talk to our MEPs. We need to go to their clinics and actually make our voices heard and tell them what we want. They're supposed to serve us. We're not there to serve them. They're there to serve us. So if, you know, go to your MPs, whip your e-cig out, have a little bit of a vape in front of them and say, look, we want these kept legal. There's nothing wrong with them. Murray Laugerson said so. Dave Dawn said, no, don't tell them that. Don't tell them that. That would just get you in trouble. Last word to chat, I think, because it looks as though we've lost Daz and then we're going to have to go. Anything more from chat?
It's not related to what you were just talking about, but it's an interesting comment that I thought I'd read out from Jeff Bennion, who said, it's a shameless copy and paste, which is from Amazon, NHS websites, Wikipedia. And it says, in the United Kingdom, many NRT products are available in shops, supermarkets, petrol stations, and even schools, although an age limit of 12 is required. And I found that quite amazing, the age limit of 12.
Yes, I've heard it said before. And it is, as you say, quite amazing. And I think we're going to have to leave it at that point tonight. We could probably keep on nattering all night and bringing Daz in and out. He's doing his impression of a fiddler's elbow tonight. But I want to say thank you very much to Daz for coming along and being in and out. He's had 15 appearances on the show tonight, which is good. Thanks to Sav for bringing the chat questions to us, and Kat for giving the chat questions to Sav. So from us until next week, bye-bye.
VT Talk was sponsored by Vaporworld, introducing the straight-up range of e-liquid from the USA containing real tobacco extracts.